Hey there, today I'm going to show you how to make this rustic Star Wars serving tray. I love this project because it was so easy and it looks so cool. It is a subtle decor element for the adult nerd like me. Okay, first things first, you're going to need a 2x10" board. So go wherever you store, collect, purchase, or pilfer your wood from and grab one of those. My only advice here is to make sure that your board is not warped or bowed. So make sure you pick a good one and that it's straight. Next, take your board to your cutting station, mine's in my garage, and you're going to want to slice your board down to around 16 inches or however long you want your serving tray to be. Cool, now to reduce any chances of splinters, we are going to sand our board. I started with around 80 grit and moved up to 220 grit. My only goal here was to maintain that rustic look, but make it smooth to touch. Great, that's the hard part done. Seriously, it is. Sanding sucks. Now grab whatever stain or paint that you have lying around. This is your project, so you paint it or stain it whatever color you want. I chose an espresso stain because that's what I had lying around, and I'm really fond of free things. I also really just don't like leaving the house if I don't have to. Once your stain is dry, you get to add your design. I'm fond of Star Wars, so I chose the Empire and Rebel logos for this. I popped some PNGs into Cricut Design Space and created some cut files for this. If you don't have a die cutting machine, not to worry, you can just print out your design and cut it out by hand with a knife and a lot of patience to create your stencil. I'm going to use my Cricut and some vinyl to create a stencil for this. You can also just cut out the vinyl and stick that down as your design rather than painting it on like I'm going to do. I tried that, I did cut it out and I did stick the vinyl down on the wood. It just wasn't the look I was going for, so I chose not to go that route. I also felt that perhaps the vinyl over time would start to peel up with use, so I chose to cut out the vinyl and use it as a stencil to paint my design on. But this is your project, so you make it your own. Once you have your design cut into the vinyl, you're going to remove your image to create the stencil. For whatever reason, my brain struggled with this, so I found it was a good idea just to have your reference photo there so you knew exactly which areas that you needed to remove, just in case your logo is overly complex. I found with the Empire one, for whatever reason, I had trouble wrapping my brain around it, so I needed to reference back to the pictures so I knew which areas I was removing. Next, stick a transfer sheet down onto the stencil, peel the back off the vinyl, and stick the vinyl to the board using the transfer sheet as a guide. Then remove the transfer sheet. Now that our vinyl stencils are in place, we can paint on our nerdy designs. I used acrylic paint for this, and it did adhere fine to the stain that I used. I painted the Empire logo in black, and I painted the Rebel logo in red. I had a little bit of black into the red I was using for the Rebel logo just to make it a deeper shade of red. I applied a couple coats of paint. I used a heat gun in between the layers to help speed up the drying process. Be careful with this because the heat will start lifting the vinyl off the wood. So if you are using a heat gun, just be very careful and don't get too close to your piece with the heat gun. Once your paint is dry, enjoy some satisfying vinyl peeling. I did have some paint bleed under the vinyl stencil a little bit where the wood kind of dipped down in one area. So just be careful of that on your placement of your vinyl, that you stick it on a flat spot. Just something to consider when you're choosing your placement of your stencil and your paint. I then sprayed a protective layer of polyurethane over the entire piece. To create the handles for the tray, I raided my husband's leather scrap box. And surprisingly, actually found a piece that was the exact length I wanted and in really good shape. I used a strap cutter to cut the width I wanted for the handles. I beveled the edges, then rounded the ends, burnished the edges, and then stained the straps a dark brown. Once dry, I buffed the leather. I found some upholstery nails we had lying around to attach the leather to the wood. I marked the board for placement. I found the center and marked 2 spots equidistant on either side of that for where I wanted to attach the handles. and then I hammered the nails in place. This was made easier by hammering the nail through the leather first, and then taking the nail in the leather and hammering that into the end of the board. I love, love, love how these turned out. They are so cool, rustic, and subtly nerdy, or not so subtly nerdy, I guess, in my case. As we get older, I feel we still want to show off our fandoms, but have a little bit more of subtle decor elements there. At least I do. So I'm hoping to make more of these nerdy decor projects in the future. If that's something you're interested in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And smash the like button because I hear it helps out or something. My name is Pam and this is Total Pamerky, the craft channel with a little anarchy. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.